Okay, so just so as usual, so it's important to ensuring that we feel ourselves fully relaxed. So just feel the fully relaxing of your body, and at the same time, it's also important to have a state of mind which is also relaxed and clear and very stable. So there's no doubt that we would, as a person, like this, I as a person would also feel very relaxed and joyful, when our both our mind and body at rest and peace. So if we if you give a thought on this fact about this the mind and body relation, and to ourselves, so there is a really to lot to gain a lot of understanding from there. For example, if we give a thought on this this sense of I that we possess, that we feel, within ourselves, and when we will notice that along with that the sense of I, there we always experience these the two kind of types of mind or states of mind. So there's a mind which kind of innately or spontaneously always wish for happiness and or seek for happiness, and as well as there's a mind which is innately wishing or trying to avoid unhappiness and the sufferings. So there's also, we will also notice that how the stronger this thought of this I arises or we experience, and then this is stronger. This also the other two thoughts, two states of mind which accompanied with this I. That is then we will have the stronger sense of wanting to these, to have happiness and the thought of trying to avoid the sufferings. So so therefore there is a clear indication that how on the other hand, the moment that this I rest in peace, then that also then naturally has the same impact on our state of mind. And then in our as an ordinary being, then we will notice that how the stronger this our desire for this to wanting happiness, then that would have the stronger force of the attachment or the desire would arise, and then likewise there's we at the same time there's also it will also have the same impact of the stronger sense of hatred or the aversions also arise. So so this is something that we can observe. We can observe this how the attachment or the aversions are result from this strong our either to our attachment to some pleasure or to aversion to sufferings. And it results in the stronger, the stronger force of the attachment and the hatred arise from that. So normally we don't really analyze or scrutinize these our such emotions of such like a desire or the hatred arise whether they are doing any harm to us or they are benefiting to our life. So and also the not only that we feel that as if these such emotion like having this desire and hatred are this that we experience. So these are all part of kind of like protecting our own interests or in our own the happiness in our own life, and somehow so you can notice that how without thinking on this, so it does actually this our desire whenever we experience desire or hatred, experience that. It does appear, it does give kind of notion to our mind that as if these are all something positive, something for protecting our own interests. But however, if we now if you analyze these the desire and the effects of the desire and the hatred, then we will find the actually is quite on the contrary, in the sense that they brings harm to one's life.
차바고는데 정말로 님을 놓을려 현재 쉬고지요 정말로 얘가 뭐냐 안도 돈벌 쉬고지 되네야 란다와라 큰로고 산지 란다라 큰줄 패스 산지 녀시와라 차비 패스라 대만도 응애네야 덜 신주 맞잖아 만도 된거 때문에 내니까 란 만도 통화 받아 응애는 되는 대신 란다라 큰로고 산지 년다라 차바고 산지 그러니까 야 차바되게 때지 스르르가 지패는 근데 얘는 뭘 카데 줘라 때지 패송해라 줘라 내가 세주시에 된 거는 좋아 근데 너무 좋아야 가야 말아 차바되게 때지 얘지 르르가 된 거지 나 제가 동안에는 되게 이제는 내가 제발을 봐 소설 우반한테 세준한테 내게지 너무 내려야 그런 거를 내가는 소설을 다 문제 되고 넘어서는 문제 되다지 나 아니 저를 라바도 이해서 들리 넘어지 때려야 하라 내가 아마 들리시지 누구나 해도
So we rather, in our experience, in daily experience, we rather, see or give, get some sort of notions from whenever that the hatred that we generate, the hatred or the anger that we generate towards towards enemies, towards those other, who are cause of harm upon ourselves, we get an indication as if these are all these hatreds and angers are all like a necessary or a favorable tools, really, to in order to win over or to defeat the enemies, and also. We do also know that it kind of, when we have this, in order to challenge, in order to defeat the enemies, we need to be, courageous, and we need to have some sort of, feel like some sort of sense of courage to be, we need to boost some sort of courage. And that is exactly, we feel that this anger and the hatred which feeds in our mind, and therefore, we would, we would feel that as if this is something important, necessary for us to have this in order to, to defeat the, to enemy. It's necessary to have this, to having the anger and the hatred is something very positive factors. And whereas on the other hand, we also notice that how the attachment is also very much, the essentials in order to be, for us to protect the interests of those who are close to us, like our friends. And because if we understand that how this as an attachment, as an emotions or feeling which causes, which can be a cause to bring those people together, closer to us, to bring together. So therefore, this it gives some. When you look at the attachment, as if then it also does give some indication that as if this is also very much necessary, something which is beneficial and essential if we have to protect the interests of ourselves and our friends. So therefore, if you look at that, if we look into the how what kind of the message that we get from the emotion of hatred and anger and attachment, so the message that we get from that, it is all showing that, on the other hand, the anger or the hatred is saying that you need me in order to defeat enemies, because you need the to be inspired, not to be disheartened to really to challenge. So therefore, it gives that kind of positive notions. So similarly, the attachment also gives that very positive notions to that's something that we that we need that in order if we have to protect the interests of our friends and those who are close to us. And then the way the attachment, the hatred arises, when when we perceive the object as something very undesirable or unattractive, and whereas the attachment arises when with our mind perceive the object as being something very desirable and something very attractive, and so therefore the way when we mentally like when we habituate our mind to these two kind of the perceptions of viewing the object as being either by something very desirable or undesirable, so in this way the mind become very habituated to, or get so used to this the attachment or the hatred in our mind, and so therefore as a result, then this attachment, the hatred, becomes a kind of like the habitual, a pattern built in our mind, and so which is so much so that it then has the impact of impact of completely controlling ourselves, even this I, so which completely become falls under the influence or being overpowered by this then the hatred or the attachment.
Didn't never matter with Malkanga Chimbo, never chasing, never can and then I call you Matsi between me. Never changes right and never go tender cousin, then I call you Matsi, never changes running. I'm on the minute to son Dodo. I'm not anything, never I did.
So, and if you look at how the desire or the attachment, serve as a source of unending the problems or the difficulties in our life, then we'll notice that with the arising of the desire or attachment, then there is will result in some sort of like a unfulfilled or wish, unfulfilled desire, and so therefore in order to as a result of that, then we feel the persons as a person who experienced desire then feel that they have to they have to fulfill satisfy the desires. So in this means, this means that the greater the amount of the desire is there, then the persons who experience the desire then would have to experience more hardships, more difficulties. So in order to satisfy the desires. So therefore, since when you desire by nature, since if you look at that, it is not something it is to be contented or satisfied by itself. So therefore, and as long as there is a desire, so then the person would never be happy, never be satisfied, never be at peace, because the person will experience this frustration and disappointment for being happy or unsatisfied with the life. So there's a great deal of suffering, so the hardship people go through because of this unfulfilled unfulfilled desires, and so you look at this those people who hardly got any money, all on the one hand, and then on the other hand, there are those who may have who can be very rich with having millions and millions of dollars. So both have the undergo the suffering of these unfulfilled desires, and so now if we if we check, if we examine, in terms of this unfulfilled desires, which of the person, people who got more, they got a more suffering, possess more wealth, do have a more sufferings, or do have a less. So, from my experience, I can say that those who possess more wealth, so in fact they experience a greater amount of this unfulfilled desires, and because we notice that there are those others who do not have much, and then somehow they a lot of them they're trying to they are very contented, trying to contend with whatever they possess, and so therefore they don't experience as much unfulfilled desires, suffering from unfulfilled desire, as those who possess a great deal of wealth. And so, in fact, I do come across a lot of people who relate to me that the problem in their life is nothing to do with the wealth, but it is more to do with their unhappy state of mind. And these are people who who are very rich. And so therefore, if we observe this, the desire that we experience in our life, and then we can understand that how if we do not diminish or calm that down, how we can then never put an end to the suffering in our life.
다 되는 나도 가대 소설을 이제 소설이 특별히 연구를 세일 소설 특별히 연구를 특별히 내서 다 된정도야 소설은 봐 배워 연구도야 특별히 되는 소설이 리세닝이 돼야 돼. 다 된정도 소설 조인한다 가리는다 관여는다 소설 특별히 연구를 다 되는 정도에서 되는 한만 되는 거야. 너무 재밌냐? 너가 특제 되고 소설 리세는 내가 때 통이야. 강한 적은 있어. 대한 적은 소설하지. 넌다 주시사. 너가 넌다 주시 그거 돼. 예시 질문들 주시 뭐 되는 거야. 돼. 내 적은 있어. 이제 이해지만 당한 명대에서 나 내가 얘는 저러서 보다 만정문들 세르세 맞아놓는데야 당 같은 저기 산 정도 소설하잖아 얘는 저러서 건지제도 용어야 야분가 내가 드리나 당아 사진은 주인데 야분가 안 정도야 내가 친구들 나 내입니다. 마 대와 마대 막코로 대사들하고는 봐도 쉽지 내입니다. 내내 처래서 오늘 약분 공부하고.
So of course, to some extent, so we we all possess, or we all have surrounded by certain sort of the favorable conditions, certain condition in our life, and so therefore those are the conditions which kind of provide, which serve as to give to protect our good well-being, of our health, of our mind and the body, and so therefore what we need to do, necessary for what we need to do is to try to acknowledge those good conditions that surrounds us, and trying to say to ourselves that this whatever we have got, good condition we have got, that is enough. And how, when we say that, when we say to ourselves that, which is in a way that we acknowledge, we feel grateful of whatever we possess, when we, sincerely say that to ourselves, then how it will, immediately have the impact of just, calming ourselves. So therefore, the conditions may be something to do with our living conditions, for the health of our body, or to do with the number of friends we have got, or our wealth. So all this, in relating to all those conditions, if we are able to satisfy ourselves, if possible, even in a single day, if we if we are able to say to ourselves, this is whatever you got, everything is very perfect, is enough, then how that has immediately it kind of calms one's mind. So this is something, this what we call as this practice of applying in the practice of contentment, cultivating the sense of contentment in our life. So which is very important cause of gaining happiness, gaining satisfactions. So it's something not only emphasized in Buddhism, but even you also find the virtue of this practice even in the Christianity is very much emphasized there. So therefore we will notice that how sometimes the reason why we feel restless, we feel unhappy, is something. It could be simply because that we have not been able to to content our mind with whatever we possess, and that is how, how when we, instead of saying that that whatever we have is enough, and if we say to ourselves that's not enough, the moment we say that, or this thought arises in our mind that something is missing, then and that is the become as a serve as a cause of restlessness and unhappiness also.
Robot long term center, Robert Jagan, I thought Chorotan, children, one room you said, one madam. Chorachena, one room, mother along with the that is next carry on, and I think there is some dead old. How some dead do I? But the vegetarian was some dead.
So, for example, in our everyday life, how if you are having some discussions with a partner or with a friend over certain things, and then if you in the discussion, let's say if your friend want to propose to do certain things, and then how if you say to the friend, if you agree with that friend, yeah, that is fine by me, and then there's no room for any stress and tension to arise in this relationship. Whereas if you are replying to something negative, if you're saying something that I do not agree with that, I don't want, it is not fine by me, and then how then this can then become a cause of of tensions, brings tensions.
Right. They lost tell me one another pencil. They are young. Lot tell me one pencil Javasumate, Tigu. Lot tell me one pencil. Said that was in the young on some dollar. Money, long promotion to do that, long time to say. Money, can you para to be down Mala, get too much of them. Tell me the other, I didn't want to take the Shamba. Long time meeting, young time meeting, kids then it's about tell you one half around Jogan, and that's on that to get too much of them. Then the children sound to me. Not the Javier. Must say, the acid, the acid. For some machine, more machine, Masami Chen, fancy changing, mother broke, mother shake, mother broke. My son, mother there. There, no conscience of money and that saying and that. Conzo one tomboy, I will take it, sell the tomboy, and wrong, never. Tell me the other, then there is a tell me the Mala. Malaba Massa, so Kanga Shuna, Rabba Zonga, Law Mantoba, then there you are. I don't Kanga Chin, called Rabba Zonga, Muji Guya. In the good. This city has a sort of tomboy, painting, Shoma Saya. Here, nothing so Rabba Jimmy, but think in the children. Yabo, Santona, none can tell you that.
So it is the fact that how we live in a societies, and where our to great extents to our well-beings and our livelihoods and our happiness is very much dependent on others. So and also when we speak of this our the joy and happiness, And one of the joy and happiness that we can experience is when we enjoy a very harmonious relationship with the other people, whether it could be could be your friend, your partners, could be two other or one or two people that you sharing your life with. So when there's harmony out of that, the harmonious relationships, then it gives us a really great deal of joy, and also from that relationship, it could also give us a support to our life. So therefore, as to what if we think of what does mean by this harmony, then it really comes down to to developing more like a common or the mutual interests, so therefore when that is there, so you both there's a lot of a mutual or a common interest in terms of your what you both like and the dislikes, and also also it is also depends on the amount of the genuine like a love and a sense of care that you show to each others. So when these are there, there's a love and the care towards each other, and when there's a lot of good harmonies there, then not only this brings as a benefit of that brings more happiness, more joys in one life, but at the same time, as well as from that, then there's also you also get a support from others. Whenever if you confront certain difficulty in life, so there is somebody there to come to extend the help. So you receive a help from someone who also have a share some sort of love and who cares about you, and so therefore it's we can understand how important it is to then if we were to be loved and to be cared and to be supported by others, so we also express, do the same, show the same love and care towards others, and to in that way, then we can establish a harmonious relationship with others. No. Yes. And so with as so then as mentioned earlier, so if you have a genuinely a share love and care towards others, and have established a very harmonious relationship with others, then if you run into any problem, any difficulty in your life, so then there's no doubt there's no shortage of their people coming to you to support and to help you. So there's no doubt that whenever anyone face certain hardship in their life, so they do seek some sort of support and help from others to come to their help, and so therefore we need to think about now in that kind of situation, who would come to help us? Are there anyone who will come to help to us? And so therefore the people who come to help us are those who are connected with yourself with such love and compassion. Okay, so we will just leave what sort of consequences are there if we hold such a the attachment and so forth. And on the other hand, now how if we look into this now, how if we generate a hatred and animosities towards those who we consider as the enemy, then what are the consequences? And with viewing them as something very unpleasant, with a perceiving those as being so unpleasant and the undesirable, and with that perception, then if you feel anger and hatred towards them. And the anger or the hatred, so is really based on our perceptions of that the object being undesirable or unpleasant. So now if we look into this, in order to overcome this, so we need to look into this whether the undesirability or the unpleasantness that we with which we perceive that object, is it something the accord with the reality of that object, or is it something purely mainly projected or by our own mind? Then according to some the recent scientists, so they found that the 95% of that the undesirability is all projection of our own mind on the objects. So maybe there's only 5% which may be related to the object itself. So as an outcome of perceiving that the certain the object as being unpleasant and undesirable, that then we feel some sort of unhappiness or some like a negative feelings towards the objects, and then as which in turn then this arouses then the anger or the hatred within us. So therefore in here, in this causal link, from the we will see that these negative thought, negative feelings, or the unwelcome feelings, so that is really that we arise, we experience is based on our perceptions of that object being undesirables.
That's something. That's all.
So, and also so not only how we got our perceptions being very diluted, but also if we look, if you have observed the effect of the anger, then we will notice that how which something that we can verify this with our own experience, that how the moment that anger arises within us or within any persons, then it will have the influence, in such an influence of where the person would change, which will become very negative, negative influence, such as whether if the person is, whatever the words that the person comes from person's mouth would be also become very, negative, something very destructive. Likewise, the person's, suddenly that, the expression, even the bodily language of the person also changes, So this is all how, even though generally the person may be a very gentle, very soft and very nice person, but how when the anger takes over, then how suddenly that person then becomes very negative and very destructive. So whenever any person experience anger or hatred, then it is very obvious, that the person then would be would lose all the peace, happiness, and so person is not in a state, in a good state of happiness, and so in addition to that, then as just mentioned earlier, then as an the effect, as an influence of the anger, this destructive emotion of anger or the hatred, then the person would whatever the person does, whether it's something the person's speech, if the person speak, it will be very harsh speech, and the physical or the bodily expression will be also very like a frown or frown expressions, and then when you think of the who get the most impact, more influence by the person's the actions, then usually it will be such, the actions destructive emotion is expressed towards something, those who are very close to you, and such as could be someone who could be your close friend or your partners, and so therefore, as a result of the anger and hatred, so not only the person, himself or herself lose peace and happiness, but now also cause the such unhappiness to the other other people, and who in fact especially the people who are close to them, and so therefore this also has the impact of causing some like the distractions to your relationship with the other as well.
차도 잡고 이 공대는 뭐들 야 뭐냐 말에 영영아 저거 영어야 말에 마요나 차도 잡고니 왜 뭐네 건지 쉬 도나 뭐들 야 영어다 근데 빨리 뭔데 상이 되게 되나 이 영어야 이나 이제 대잖아 차비니 뭐들 मधु बागो से तने कंट्री नियम शंबा गो ने देदा 차도 잡아도 그 नियम 맞아 봐 용거 말해 이제는 그 मधु बागो गो जा 셔도 잡아도 नियम들 शंबा गो से शंबा도 이제 좀 거는 진짜 근로 맞출도 아니 मधु बागो 뒤에 저기서는 차바 쉬를 봐 건지 쉬를 동안 되니시는 가야 분들 되니 가 거트네 나이 말이야 쉬지.
So it's important to establish on the basis of our own experience that that how if we generate a strong wave of like attachment or anger, then in our own experience, so can we be at the same time, can we be at peace and at happiness or not? So if we will find that there is no if our mind is filled with this strong wave of attachment and the hatred, so we will recognize that we cannot be at the same time be at peace and be at happiness. So therefore, from this, based on this understanding of how the fact that the attachment and anger can be can be cause, can causes for bringing unhappiness, bringing restlessness. So based on that, then we can also understand that if we now, on the other hand, conversely, if we able to reduce this attachment and anger, like we able to suppress or able to minimize these, then that they give us some kind of indication that then can the result will be then be more enhancing more like a peace and happiness within ourselves. So therefore the on the base of this kind of understanding, so therefore we can we have to understand the purpose of meditation practice, which is to counteract, for example, to counteract the attachment or to counteract the hatred. So in order to counteract the attachments, so we can the meditation, we can engaging in the meditation where we focus on in order to change our mental perceptions of from the desired object of being more from desirable to undesirables. So we meditate on the undesirability, the sides, states of that objects, the shortcomings of the desire, object of our desires. That's what we need to meditate upon, and so likewise we can overcome or to reduce or even to overcome the hatred and anger, by the cultivating love and compassions. So therefore, in this way, it is rather than so after recognizing all these shortcomings of the attachment and the hatred, and so therefore if we, as a way to counteract this, so if we engage in this the remedies, like such as this meditation on on cultivating love and compassion, or to meditating on reflecting on the undesirability of the objects, on or the negativity of the object, and through this, as we become more familiar, our mind, we need to habituate our mind towards love, and more towards to perceiving the object in a more realistic way, and so in this way, so we'll be able to slowly able to diminish the desire and hatred.
Yeah, that's something. In that, somebody needs a mother couldn't hear the mother how go. Couldn't say it, never seen it. Mother couldn't say never seen it. Somebody needs a pen to it. Pen to me, never see lot same name. Qualification, something. And then, get good, you share up. Pensive, somebody needs a people are people you will know. Pensation channel, necessary children. Without that's it, very good. Robots want so pensation. Necessary children. Never robot no more. Rolla, pen with that drip. Never tell what got them, robots on the trolls on the tail. That's all the things of the thing other quite level you are. Somebody needs it. All continue about the garden, never seen it. Somebody needed Mala Pair to it. Pair to the Lord Digger, never see Lord Sunday over there. The uncle, the pen the Lord Cadepona, never seen the Lord but chew over. That's on there. When a mother was there, that's not saying, Mother, you will not about to let that Mateba, you will know my son, that Monday, no what to reach, and roll cheese, you will. There's just a Mandua. That's on dead. I call it on the
So we can also if we look at the mental attitude of for example, on the one hand the love and compassion, and on the other hand the anger or the hatred, then we'll notice they are like opposite. These two are opposite, in a sense that the love and compassion is a mental attitude or a thought of benefiting or helping others, extending help to others, whereas the love and hatred is a thought of causing harm upon others, retaliating or wishing other some harm upon others. So therefore, there is no, it should be very clear that how, if we make an effort in trying to develop love and compassion, then this naturally then will bring more, as we have more, cultivating more thought of, care, thought of benefiting to that to that person. So therefore, there's no room. It will counteract the anger, because it will be counteracting this any thought of harm and causing harm to the persons. So in this way, how as we were talking before, so it's important to how much benefit is there if we trying to practice this cultivating love towards those who we consider as our friend, who are close to us, and so that means that we will be the cultivating, developing more sense of care towards their need, and then the thought too of benefiting them, and so in this way, as we do this, we'll be able to we are preventing any cause of harms towards them. So therefore, there's as a result of such meditation, then it has there's a benefit for other and also for yourself, as it also improve one's relationship with others, and then likewise how when we talk about the overcoming or counteracting the desire or attachment, then as we need to as we understand that how desire of this is much based on that on the fact that the objects being very perceiving or the as being very pleasant and something desirable, something beautiful, and then how that at the out of desire or out of attachment, and how when we look into that the element of that what beauty and the attractiveness that we see in the object, when we analyze that, so it is more to do with the one's own mental projections rather than the object. So therefore, as we meditate on the fact that to trying to the understanding this and we're trying to get rid of these mental projections of that object being such unrealistically so beautiful, so attractive, and desirable, and so forth. As we do that, then in this way it it has the effect of reducing the desire and the attachment also.
Yeah, that's something that says God seems like God minute, say Chadong Mundra, say Chadong on the mother, say in Lena, say Chadong only. Mano Chindavala said, Nongi, gave me Basan, Nongi, the Baki, like Jana, Mother Charles said, Pacha, Shiro, say, Shiro, you'll give a tell you, I'm no lion, you sing the Tenny, or Teddy, from Tenny, Tona, God, that, Chadon on the mother, and God. Mother, Mother, Chaba Chaba, never did it. Couldn't trouble in never did it. Never the money dead on her. Yes, never the dead on her. Oh, look, I call never ya, just one or two parents, no more. And they have one man asked a shell parents. Couldn't trouble in there. I couldn't have one man asked, couldn't I don't mind gun no yard. That's how under your man asked a gun. Couldn't trouble in one level. Shallow yet like any couldn't but let him. Look, could I have a man, no, the self, no children, could not call time, could I have a message? They got a minute, don't tell it, could I have a color, I get, and it could try to let call mother, could I have a man, never could not call a children, could not mother young. Chaba trouble delay, child, Koropa Jay, Chaba trouble, Yabu Ma, and this is all the Peruga, Tilted down on the Moshiba and Yabu Yare. I'm not about it done.
So we will do some meditation together, but so before that, so just to keep in mind that how the aim of meditation practice is to really to calming our mind and the calming the mind from being the overpowered by like a strong influence of attachment and hatred. And so the just as the primary, the main cause of such all this attachment or the desire or the hatred to arise, so is more related to the certain external objects of distractions, and so therefore in order to prevent such the attachment and hatred to arise, therefore so it is necessary for us to then trying to stop prevent our mind from going after from the wandering after such all those external object of distractions, and then and this is what so we do in the meditation practice, so where we direct the mind in the within ourselves, inward, and then place the mind on the meditation objects. So therefore, trying to, as we said before, what is required is to rather than if we simply think on the without disciplining our mind. Disciplining our mind, but if we let our mind just, if it's whether it's a desire or hatred, just to, if we let it arise itself, then it will sometimes it may keep, growing, keep increasing, because it's, if we stay as our mind occupies on the object of the desire, it keeps it will be act like a fuel to really to. Which will increase the desire and the hatred. So instead of that, how we will also find instead of the thinking on the object or the various causes and conditions that cause for anger and hatred, but rather instead of that, if we direct our mind towards the anger itself, that we anger or the attachment that we experience within ourselves, how when we experience that, and then to recollect ourselves all the things that we talk about, like such as all the shortcomings of these two minds, the anger or the attachment, and thinking of recollecting all those things, and then if we are able to say to ourselves when the anger arises, then to at least to alert ourselves, this is something I have to be careful, otherwise it can be very destructive, something can be very harmful. And if we say that, how that has that is more beneficial, then rather than thinking on the object, whatever the cause and condition or the object that arouses that anger. So rather than that, if we focus on the anger itself, so likewise, if we focus on the attachment, the mind itself, and then to be able to say that it is not the wholesome, it is not something positive, and you have to alert yourself. So in this way, of course in this meditation, so we idea is to also to prevent our mind from being occupied with all those external objects which condition, which serve as a cause to arouse anger and hatred, and rather than we let the mind sit on the meditation objects. So in this meditation practice that we will be doing here together, so where we use our own inhaling and exhaling of breath as an object to focus on, and so even though this breathing meditation is not really not called as a direct antidote to overcome the attachment or anger, but however it is very effective in terms of immediately getting rid of this at least this strong or a very obvious or a manifested form of attachment or anger that we experience, or any form of mental delusion that we experience. So therefore in generally speaking, so when as we have to have this when we talk about counteracting mental delusion, so we have the strategies. So where first we have to tackle all the very strong if the delusions that we experience is a very strong one, so first we got to reduce the force of delusions, and it is something that you currently, which is present, strongly present in your mind, that you find it very difficult to focus on, to do anything. So it's, first of all, it is necessary to overcome that, and then once you overcome that, then you can go to next level to where you can think of applying certain means which has some directly remedy or counteract the particular delusions. So in a way, how if we when we experience a certain like a strong or a manifested form of such mental delusions like the anger or attachment, how, let alone performing meditation practice, but even if we have to do certain just like a mundane task, like for example, if your task involve some sort of calculation, then if your mind is distracted by such hatred or attachment, then you can easily miscount, and so in this way, it is very fact that how if for someone whose mind is strongly agitated by such the hatred or the attachment, and if you say that the person, advise that person to help that person to meditate or cultivate love or compassion, then it's going to be very difficult for that person to under that circumstance. So where the force of delusion is very strong. So rather, however, if we engage in this breathing meditations, and then which is not that hard, so we can hard. However, it is very effective, immediately effective in just cutting off our mind from all the influence of all the other delusion or other distractions, and since you will find it very suitable to just to at least to temporarily overcome all this the manifested form of mental delusions. So when we engage in breathing meditation, so where we will be our mind will be then single pointedly focused on the breath, of the inhaling and exhaling, and then and because of this, so there is no room for in our mind to any other like a delusion, such as like whether it be jealousies, whether it be pride or hatred or competitiveness, any such the restless like afflictive emotion to arise in our mind, and so this, as I said, as we just been discussing, it is really necessary for us, important for us to really to overcome such all these distracting or the disturbing thoughts, because otherwise, without overcoming this, how all the disturbing thoughts within our mind, within ourselves, then we will find that no matter how we surround ourselves, we equip ourselves with all the externally all the good conditions, but how inwardly or within ourselves, if his mind is filled with so many disturbing thoughts, then we will see how we cannot find happiness and peace. So therefore, just keeping this in mind, now we should begin this meditations. So just by ensuring that you fully relax your body, and then trying to fully bring the mind inward, and then as much as by overcoming all the outgoing or the distracting thoughts, and then we direct the whole mental attentions upon in the incoming and outgoing breath.